Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Jesse and I welcome you back to Crazy Tuts. This is the first video in the group of videos I'll be coming in this series, the Afrobeat 101 series. So I'll be dropping videos as usual every week, teaching you how to make FL Studio for complete beginners. So if you're maybe an intermediate who has gone past the elementary stage of FL Studio, you'll want to skip to a different video. For this one is for just beginners, people who are picking up FL Studio for the first time and are wondering, what the hell do I do here? Alright, you're in the right place. So I'm going to point out the basic things you need to know as a starter in FL Studio. So without wasting much of your time, let's get into the video. But before we do that, please do not forget to subscribe, like, turn on your bell notification so that whenever I'll be dropping videos, you'll be notified first and you can rush down to watch. Alright, do not forget to subscribe, please. Very important. Subscribe. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. And let's head right into the video. As an absolute beginner, you picked up FL Studio and you're seeing this thing spread across your screen, and you're wondering, what the hell is this? What am I supposed to be doing with this? I'm here to put you through, alright? Show you the basics, things you need to know as a producer. Don't get it twisted. The FL Studio is a very complex, it's a complete DAW. That is to say, you can do everything from production to recording to mixing to mastering, everything inside of FL Studio. Okay, so you don't even need a different DAW to do anything. So when you get down to mixing, mastering, recording and stuff, that's more advanced and complex thing. So, but for this video or for this series, it's just the basics, how to start up your Afrobeat producer life. All right, how to give you the basic things you need to know as a Afrobeat producer. But in this video, I will be getting you started with FL Studio. All right, this is the first video. So subsequent videos would making a beat live on FL Studio, and you would see that it's quite easy. Okay, so without wasting much of your time, let's get down into the video. All right, for this video, we're breaking it down to 5 main points, because to me that's all you need to know for now as a beginner in the field. So you don't need to know everything about FL, it's just the basic stuff. All right, and these 5 points are your channel rack, which is this right here, your browser, which is this window over here, your playlist, which is this bigger screen here. Let me X out, this one here. Your mixer, which is this bad guy here, and your piano roll, this one. So I would be breaking down all of this components of this DAW to you. So let's start up with this stop bar here. First, start up with the file. This file tab is where you open up your previously saved project. You save your project which you're currently working on. You export either WAV or MP3 or any other format you want to export in. So that's basically all for this file tab. That's all you need to know as a beginner. As you can see, this section here where it says recent project. If you've ever worked on any project in FL Studio, you can just click over here. You see them here. You can just pick them and get into your video, get into your production real quick. So next up, we talk about the options tab. This options tabs here is where you edit or set up things in your FL Studio, like your MIDI, your audio, general settings, file settings, manage plugins. This is where you do all those stuff. Setting up your MIDI, you can come in here, the input section, do all those stuff, set up a MIDI. If you have a MIDI controller, I don't have any, so you can see it's all blank here. So that's that for the options tab. You can see there are other tabs here, but for a beginner, you don't really need to dive into all these tabs yet. But subsequently, as we progress, we might get to use them. If not, but basically, these are the 2 tabs I always use. Go into file, save my stuff, options to change, mostly doing them towards this audio settings, because by the time you open FL Studio, it's going to be using FL Studio Audio. But when you start making beats, you would want to use FL Audio for all, or the Audio driver for the audio interface which you're working with. So that's what I normally come in here to do, and also to adjust buffer length and stuff. So that's basically what I do with this stop section. I don't really use it that much. If you notice under here, there's this stuff called the hints panel. So when your mouse hovers over something, it tells you what the thing is. Here, this orange pattern, this orange color here is the pattern / song mode selector. Okay, this is where you switch from pattern to song mode. Explaining that once it is once it's set to pattern, if you play, what you'll be hearing is sounds from your channel rack. Okay, if you notice under this, there's this play head. Once you hit play, it's moving. You see, it's going. But that's to show you that it's the pattern that's playing. But once you turn on the song mode, it's no longer moving. Here, it's now moving. Right. So FL Studio is set to work in a way that you more like a building block kind of thing. You create patterns, that you build up your songs in patterns. For instance, you could make drums, pianos, guitars, all those things in different patterns. And when you're done with the individual patterns, you move all of them into your playlist and you make your song. Okay, so that's how we have these two sections to select from. All right, some other DAWs might have it differently. So that's how FL Studio works. These other ones here are quite self-explanatory. This is the pause play button, the stop button, the record, and the tempo button. The tempo, yeah. So over here you can set the tempo of your project. There are ways to do this. You can click and hold your left click and hold and move your mouse down or up to change the figures. All right, so you get to that figure where you're okay. Or you can just right click, come over here to type in value and you type in the tempo manually. Or you can also right click and hit on this tap and then you tap along. That's you click. More like you tap. For instance, if you're singing, you can go so like according to what you're singing, and then you tap your tempo according to what you're tapping with your arm, and then you can set your tempo for people who I don't think there's anybody who can listen to someone sing and just identify the tempo the person is singing on. But if you are one of those kind of people, kudos to you. For me, I need to tap. Most times I tap to be able to get the tempo we're working with. Okay, so after that, this right here is the metronome. So when you turn it on and you hit play, you can hear that sound. That's the metronome sound. Over here, you can change the sound. So you right click on that. You can see you can set it to hi-hat, to tick. You play. See, that's a tick. You can set it to beep. Set it to cowbell. Depends on what you want. I prefer the hi-hat because it gives the song rhythm on its own. The other sounds kind of sound annoying. You know, when you're hearing those sounds, it kind of like makes you feel like you're doing something weird. But with the hi-hats playing, it just goes well, right? Nextly, here we have the pattern selector over here. But before we go into that, let me just outline a few stuffs here. Over here, for beginners, you don't really need to meddle with any of this stuff here. But this one here, as a beginner, this should be turned on because I'm guessing you're a beginner and you do not have MIDI controllers. So this button makes the FL Studio identify your keyboard, that's your laptop keyboard or your PC's keyboard, as a MIDI, so you can use your keyboard to play MIDI notes into FL Studio. Right, that's what this button is for. If you turn it off, it's not going to work. So you just need it to be turned on. This one here is your countdown before recording. I like this because it makes you prepare when you want to record. All right. So I normally turn this on, but if you don't like the countdown, you could just turn it off. So now to the pattern selector. This selects pattern. So if you have more than one pattern and you want to move, probably you have like 10 to 15 patterns outlined here. I want to move pattern 4 or 5 into the playlist. You have to select the pattern. Either you hold and move down or up. There are multiple ways to actually do that though. You can still come in here and click on the pattern you want, click on it, and then let's see if we can do that practically. Add a new pattern. So click here. See, now we have pattern 2. Alright. So if you want to move pattern 1, let's create something on pattern 2. And then create pattern 3. So if you want to move pattern 1 into the playlist, once you click on it here, observe over here, it selects pattern 2, type it in, or you click it in, sorry, and then pattern 2 is in. You want pattern 1, you click on that, it changes to 1, changes to 2. Alright, so you click on this one, changes to 1, click on this one, changes to 2. So that's what the pattern selector does. Second part of this video, which is this section over here, your browser. Over here in the browser, this is where, sorry about that. Over here in the browser, sorry, this is where you select your sounds, select your drum sounds, audio, and other stuff from here, this section over here. So when you get your FL Studio first, you probably have a few folders containing some sounds. Mostly this pack section is where you would have most of your sounds from. But if you want to add your personal, for instance, you get drum samples, and you want to add your drum folder into FL, just come over here to this options tab, file settings, and over this to this area where it says browse extra search folders. You click on any of the folder icon, and then it shows you your documents. You select the folder you want, and then you hit select folder, and the folder will appear here. So how to add folders into this stuff. That's basically all about the browser. Next up is the channel rack. So this is where you build your music. Alright, this is where you build your songs in. So channel rack is basically the building block of your music. So you can create as many channels as possible. Once they're going to be added into the music, it doesn't concern FL. There's no limit to the amount of channels you can create. Alright. So this button here is the mute and solo button. So you can right click to mute and unmute. Then you can left click, and then you can see solo. This one, sounds alone. So in case you want to solo something to hear something else. So over here we have the channel pans the sound from this bad guy left or right. You can also do this in the mixer, which I normally do. I don't really work with the knobs. Here's also the volume button, which you can adjust depending on how loud or how quiet you want it to be, which can also be done in the mixer section. So you might be wondering, how do you get your drums into this place? So what you do is you go to the folder where your drums are. So you pick a drum you want. For instance, let's say I want this kick or this one. Can just move it, drag it over here, or right click, hit on this, open a new channel, and it opens a new channel and it shows us this sampler stuff. So you just X that out, and you can see our kick is in here. You can still drag it manually and put it on top. So that's, for instance, if you have a sound that you do not like anymore. For instance, now this clap here or this snare here, I don't like the snare anymore. I can just come over here, go to my snare folder, get a snare that I like, and just drag it above this one. As you can see, the snare has been replaced. Alright, you can do that for every channel here. So that's that for adding sounds. And then as you can see now, this new one we added, there's dash here, this column here that has these numbers, just indicates what number, what track in the mixer channel this sample is occupying. This first one is occupying number 1, 2, 3, 4, but this one is dash. So you can move this into the channel, into the mixer channel, without having to go into the mixer channel. What you have to do here is just to click here and move up to the number you want, the next free number, and you're good. But if you don't want to do that, you could just click on it and then click on this track button here, and it assigns to the next free mixer track. So that's basically all you need to know as a beginner in the channel rack. Okay, so that's basically everything in the channel rack. Okay, before I go, this plus button here, this is how you add instruments. VSTs are like sounds, synth sounds, trumpet sound, guitar sounds, bass sounds. That's how you add them into your channel rack. Okay, so that's basically all about the channel rack. So let's now move into the piano. Let's say, okay, let's add a sound here. Let's say, for instance, you want to work with let me use something stock. Where you at? Okay, let's say you're working with citrus now, and you loaded the sound up. You can come over here to this place where it says preset. You can see all the many presets here. You could just choose any one of your choice and just get going. Okay, let's pick one piano. Okay, that's sound is loaded up. But now you might be wondering, how do you actually get that sound to play in FL Studio? Right, now that's going to move us directly into the next one, which is the piano roll. All right, so this is where you add sounds into your FL Studio, mostly for VSTs. You can click your sounds in like you do with drums. Okay, let me show you how to click your sounds in. For instance, you're working, this is an Afrobeat tutorial, so you want to make a basic Afrobeat drum pattern. Normally, the kicks are normally 4x4. That is after every 4 counts. You can see FL Studio helped us out here. They colored each 4 count differently. So after 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's basically how the kick goes in FL Studio. As you can see, you're just clicking to add in the sounds. So if you come to the snare, you can just, for Afrobeats, the snare goes like this. So you can see here, clicking just gets the sound in. But this is because these are drums. Well, let's play it and see how it sounds. So the information, let's say if this button up here is set to song mode, if you play, it's not going to play anything because in our playlist there is nothing here. So if you want that sound, so this playlist does is it's where you arrange your song. All right. So after you're done working on it in the channel rack and you like what you're hearing, you can just drag it into the playlist and you can play it from here. See? Alright, so now the reason why you can click in sounds with drums and not with piano sounds, let me explain to you. Now, drums are basically one note elements. That is, you're playing the same notes all through. Drums don't basically have variations in keys. They're mostly the same thing. So if you're working with drums, you're basically just going to be playing C all through. But with piano, you are playing different things, different notes, different keys. So you want to type in those keys or record those keys if you have a MIDI controller, or if you can play keyboard with your laptop keyboard. I don't know if that makes sense. That's if you can play piano with your keyboard, yeah, you can just record in by typing. But for me, I can't do any of those. So what I do is I also click in. But instead of clicking in here, you click in here. It's going to give you the same sound. Let's listen to that. You might think, okay, if I put another sound here, it might sound different. Let's listen. As you can see, the sound didn't change, alright? It's still the same sound. So, in order to get different notes playing in our piano sound, we want to do that inside the piano roll. Okay, so let's head back into our piano roll. And this top section here is your toolbar. So I'll just outline some of the tools you're going to be using often. This first two, one is called the draw tool, one is called the paint tool. You can either use any of them to put in your notes. Yeah, this one here is to delete. This here is to mute the sound. So after playing the note, if you want to mute one note for any reason whatsoever, you would use this. This is a slice to cut the notes. For instance, you play the note that's too long, you can just cut out the extra. And then that's or for now, for beginners, like earlier said. Then this other one here, the snap to grid. This is how you set the size of the notes, or not the size, or how much the notes can move. Okay, so if we set this to cell, which is going to be the default, you can only put in notes at this horizontal line. So if you click here, the notes are going to appear at the beginning of this line. If you click, even if you click in the center here, it appears here. Okay, so as you can notice here, as you can already notice, as we click on different sounds, it's already giving out different sounds. So click on different keys, sorry, it's giving different sounds already. So that's why we cannot use that other step sequencer. So back to the snap to grid now. If you set it to none, you can add notes anywhere. If you click notes here, it appears there. If you click here, it appears here. If you click here, anywhere you click, note appears. Most people like to use none when you want to do something really crazy with your melody. Personally, I like using half step. So it shares the cell into two. So you can now add notes in between steps, in between cells and stuff. So let's just add a chord going for this 4 bar. So one chord, okay, 2 chords could do. So basically, that's how you add chords and stuff, and melody and anything you want to add into. Let's see if we can add a melody. Let's do. Yeah, that's pretty basic, but you get the idea. So you just click in, and the sounds are ready for you to use. Okay. So next up now, let's talk about the playlist. So as like I said, the tools over there in the piano roll and the tools here are quite the same. They work the same way. So we don't go much into the tunes. Let's look at this section here. This is your pattern picker. This is where you can pick your patterns from and add them to the playlist. This is also your audio picker. If you have audio clips, they'll appear here. And this is your automation clip picker. Your automation clips are going to appear here too. You'll be asking, what's an automation? Okay, an automation is it a tool? Okay, let's say it's a tool that controls elements inside FL Studio. It's available on other DWs too, but we're talking about FL Studio today. So what this does is, let's say for instance, you are playing our drum, for instance, and for some reason you want this kick to be loud in some sections of the song and quiet in some sections. So instead of, you cannot move this knob up and down manually when the beat is exporting. So that's when the whole thing happens. So this automation clip helps you do that. So let's move this into the playlist, for instance, and play our 4-step. Let's say we want the kick to sound half as low during this second bar. So we're going to click everywhere the kick comes in and mark it. How you mark? You mark with, you right click at this top here with the right one and you drag to mark. Then you go over here to your mixer, right click on this again, you see create automation clip. You click on that. You can see this is automation clip. So I want the volume from here downwards to be lower. So what I would do is, in order to make it very clean, I would come over here to the original, this point here, right click on it and copy value. Then I'll come to this place where I want it to start getting low. Right click there to add a point. You can see the point has been added, but it's not the same line with this one. And due to the size, you might not be able to get it at exactly the same point with this one. That's how we copy that value, we just copy it. So if you now right click on this and click on paste value, now it's on the same point. Now I want to reduce this volume to about 50%. All right. So I'll add another point here, as you can see. So this point now is going to control how low. So I want it to be this low. Let's copy this one too. And then we come over here and paste. And let's listen. You see? Now over here the kick is lower in volume. So That's what the automation clip does. And if you open up the mixer and observe, look here, see the volume knob. So that's basically everything about the playlist and how the playlist works. And now we move on to the last thing in this video, which is the mixer. This is quite tedious and huge to explain, but as we go in more in this series, we get to know more about everything I'm talking about today. This mixer, what it does is it's where you add stuff. That's like, look at it as, let's use a furniture making shop, for instance. They have a place where they just hit nails and hammer together, put the woods together and make things. Then they have a place where they go polish, spray, paint, add foams and all those things. So that's what you're doing here in the mixer. You're done with making the music. In here, you're polishing it up, you're adding effects, you're messing with the volumes, you're making it sound better and all. That's what goes on here. You notice at this top left, at this extreme left here, we have our master. This master channel controls the entire thing in the song. So if your drums are, even if they are to the highest level, if this master volume is low, the drums are going to be low. Okay, this master controls everything here, and this is called the master. It controls everything. While this bigger one here is the current. So any active track is going to be exhibited here, just so you can see how loud the song is in decibels. So you can see here the root 303. So from here, -3, -6, -9, and other stuff. So you can measure how loud your sound is. Okay, so that's what this current tab here is for. And then this one is your volume knob, as I've already explained. So if your sound is too loud, you bring it down here, or if it's too quiet, take it up here and all that. Then over here, this green knob here is your mute and solo knob, like we saw from the playlist. So you just click on this, it's silence, it mutes the sound, unmutes it. Then this stuff here is also for panning. You can pan left or right. So that's what that does. And then adding tracks to this channel, I've showed you one way. Another way is you can right click, you can come to the channel rack, make sure the track you want to add is active, like this, and then you come here to the mixer, you right click, you go to channel routing, and you said route selector channel to this track, and you can see the grand piano is in here and named and even colored. So that's basically what the mixer does. And then if you want to add effects over here, this is where you add your effects, the FX section. So just click here, select the effect you want to add, beat, an EQ, a reverb, a delay, whatever, and add it from here. So we're going to explain all of those terms into details in the forthcoming video, right? So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, like the video, comment if you have any questions, and see you in the next video. In the next video, we'll start making real beats. So see you there, and I hope you're cool. Ciao, ciao.